Alright, so as you can see, I've glued this down. The pieces are not falling off. So you might have to give this a little bit of dry time. Thick stuff like this, when I glue it down too, I tend to like press it on there, but then sort of wiggle it back and forth so that you feel the glue really grab hold. So I don't want this scooting around on me. So what I'm gonna do is, I have some tape nearby. I'm gonna take some of this tape, just a small piece, and I'm actually gonna tape it down so it's not moving around on me when I'm using it. So you don't have to tape it down, I just find that this helps quite a bit. So I'm going to use this as my stamp to print designs onto my paper. So because this is here, it's good to start in the corner because you know exactly where that is and you can kind of still see the edges of the stamp sticking out. I'm taking a crayon that does not have paper on it because I'm going to use the side of it like we've done before, and I'm going to print. So here I actually get to see my design. Now the thing is, you want to have a pattern so you don't have to fill in every little piece of paper here. So maybe I'm going to skip over to this corner and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm not coloring it in, so I'm not going to sit there like rubbing back and forth. I just want to get an impression of the stamp that I made. So here I'm going to attempt to skip a space. So I'm going to skip about as much as I think would be another square. And because I've set this up, because I have these columns, this is helping me see where I should put my stuff. When we looked at the image, the Ashanti artist working on his Adinkra cloth with his stamp, he definitely had a plan laid out. He wasn't just randomly sticking the stamp all over the place. So what I am doing is I'm printing. I'm skipping a space, printing, skipping a space, printing. But actually, I'm really sort of planning ahead, because what I'm going to attempt to do is fill in those empty spaces later with a different color. So it seemed to have just enough to fit one down at the bottom. So the whole thing where we measured based on the size of the paper, that really kind of worked out for me. This has some extra stuff on it from when that bag was glued together, so I'm gonna get rid of that. Then I'm going to go to this one. So my design is off to a pretty good start. So I have this printed along here, so I'm starting to create a pattern. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to attempt to use my columns, the way I have everything set up, to figure out, well, if I want to have a blue square printed in here, I could go in there and sort of feel underneath. I could even fold it. That might be a better way of doing this, so that I can see the top edge of my stamp there, get that aligned with where I want it to be. And I'm hoping that that square ends up in between these. Did I do, oh look, Mr. Bazin did it correctly. So by folding that down, I could see where it was easier. So now I'm going to here, I'm gonna fold this edge down so that kind of tells me where to line it up with. Let that lay flat, and I'm going to feel underneath just to sort of make sure. I think it could go over a little bit. I'm going to do this again. So I'm going to continue printing my design. So you guys have seen how I'm finding where to put things. So I need one more right here to finish what I've done so far. So I can fold it this way at this point and find the bottom edge of the stamp and then feel around for it. I think it needs to go over, and it's right here. So you're going to be printing yours. And in a minute, we'll see, well, what else could we do to this? This looks pretty cool so far, but there's a lot more that I can do to this design.